is what Beth did by tracing around all of our bodies. She traced around all of us so that we had a place. Everyone has a beautiful place on the spot. And each of us are going to receive a little green and red paper, which we're going to use later in the morning. The green for everything that grows and is positive and moving forward, like plants and trees. And the red is kind of a stop sign that says, hey, there's an obstacle. And both are important in what's going on. We can't imagine what the world would be like if we could learn to hold people with disabilities more carefully. Let them in. Let in their qualities and their essence and what they call out in us. We can't develop all kinds of aspects of ourselves without them as teachers.
Okay, guys. We're doing a really good job keeping people with disabilities safe and separate, spending a lot of money.
We're all here to help and keep a keen eye out for corruption.
Right. We have to monitor these organizations' finances.
That's right, this state is spending a lot of money and we want to make sure that it's not slipping through the cracks.
Where are we going today? Job path. I hear they have no walls.
Okay, people. Let's go.
One, two, three. Accountability!
Don't forget the NODs, the VOCs, and the ISPs. We've got to get some money back.
62, 108, 47, 12, 16, 3,000, 208, 420, 7, 24, 38.
I would go to the gym often, and suddenly, every Monday for 2 or 3 weeks, I started seeing Alvina, Ruben, Osvaldo, and support workers playing basketball. That's the kind of work I love, but I didn't know how to approach them. Finally, weeks later, when I did approach them, I asked, hey, what is this, and how can I be a part of it?
We're Job Path.
What's that?
Job Path is people help people live good lives. We help folk get jobs and do things in the communities and have their own apartments. But why am I telling you? Why don't I show you? Because Job Path is really for the people. Hey everyone, what works for you?
Great. What works for you guys? Krista?
Hi. Ruben's ill, so what works for Ruben is he goes to basketball on Mondays, Tuesdays and Thursdays. He volunteers here at the Guild. And on Wednesdays, he actually works at Barnes & Noble. That works for him. And for me personally, these are kind of what people works for me.
I got lots of love in my heart, my family and friends. I have a job at the gym. I'm an instructor to the sensei. He's on me Kobani. And that's what's for me.
Espetáculo que não vai te vir. É a potoemino Ifu. Me too. Ella.
Yeah. I just welcome the book. That's a stress now. Not by here, the breath out. And how the young people don't die. I want to get this job soon. That will work for me.
Jack said that he used to live in Willowbrook, and he felt trapped there. He now volunteers at a hospital where he helps people that have lost their sight. He's going to get a paying job too, and that works for him.
My wife, my son, my daughter, and my commitment to meaningful work works for me.
I went to the book. Now I got work at job path. Limited everywhere. It worked for me.
What works for me is working with a wonderful company like JobPath and helping Tony find a job. It's really exciting. I've never been with a company that is so great and really cares about what they're doing and their goals, and that works for me.
Right. 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 Up.
You know, it's one trap stacked along another. Everything from the medical model, the trap of the assumptions about people with disabilities, the trap of the money, the trap of the rate differential between day have and employment,
Rate differential.
and then on top of it all, we have monitoring and compliance. That's off the charts here because we have so much money in the state of New York. For every dollar we trade, the trade-off is in regulation. It invades every free space that people have. It's relentless. So if you don't have a vision, then that's just all you do. You meet the regulations. You comply. People, and very good people, by the way, are really trapped in their own structure.
Being innovative, creative, person-centered, and yet still remaining within the requirements of regulations, that does not always work for me.
For Ruben, what doesn't work for him is accessorized being late. No heat in the apartment in the winter time, especially the bathroom. That doesn't work for him. And for me personally, bad attitudes does not work for me.
Taking is not working for me.
Jack said institutions don't work for him.
For training, you go to the store and get money, and go back during the vaccine. It doesn't work for me.
Losing connections with friends and family does not work for me.
So Keith isn't here right now, but he says, being broke doesn't work for me. And Shakir says, when people are discriminating or disrespectful toward Keith, That does not work for me.
Death, violence, and dishonesty in the world, that does not work for me.
And lonely, that work for me.
He said being lonely does not work.
Each individual, along with their support people, is constantly reaching for something bigger and better and greater. For freedom, degrees of freedom for themselves. And reality is constantly pulling them back and shutting down and covering degrees of freedom. People are literally buried under all this junk. The levels to which people are buried are endless. And so a hand comes out of the ground, but then something shoves it back. The battle is fierce. At different times, people emerge to help, to pull up, to unbind the chains. That's the person that I want to identify with. I don't want to be the villain. I don't want to be the quicksand. I don't want to be the chain. I want to be the one who intervenes and helps keep people moving forward. How could we do this differently? How could all of us do this in a different way? It probably takes all of us. Great. Or what about just positive attitude? Like a real positive attitude.
Everybody wake up. Head together in the air. Dogs. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I step aside, let him be who he wants to be. I step aside, let him see what he wants to see. I step aside, let him lead where he wants to lead. I step aside, I step aside, I Swallow is his own man. Step aside with his thoughts and his horn and plans. Step aside. Now messing with the ball he takes. Step aside. Remember Mark when he made a mistake. Step aside. Play ball with him one-on-one. Step aside. Let him win so he can have some fun. Step aside. Now we go to the bone he lays. Step aside. He takes the bus and I'll take the train. Step aside. I step outside.
And another thing, do we need more support and community and just simply care more for each other? Or do we need to see people in terms of their possibilities, of who they really can become, instead of looking at people for the limitations of where they have come from? Tony's going to lead us to a new future which we could all participate in. Have a bow, so everybody can